You are using your current moment to set forth an intention that you are in love with, that you're thrilled about, that you're hoping is going to manifest. And in that moment, you're not worrying about the past and you're not worrying about the future. You are simply completely present in the awareness of now, and you're putting out an intention that is just fantastic. And the way you're processing that intention is in a manner that's getting into new territory for you. It maybe not be a way you're used to thinking of things or projecting things. I think that's fantastic. That would absolutely be a beneficial thing to do in the moment of now. In what I've been speaking on about the moment of now, I'm primarily referring to quieting the mind as an exercise for ridding negative thoughts about the past and the future. Another distinction I would like to make about the moment of now is that it's not something that we necessarily have to do, 16 hours a day, every single moment of our day. The idea in this is to become aware of the fact that this is how things work, that this is where our power resides, is in every single moment of now. And if we can become aware of that even for a fraction of our day, and especially when we start having rampant negative thoughts that are destructive to our experience, thoughts that are harmful towards ourselves, thoughts that we're putting out there towards others, that is when it becomes vital to catch yourself in the process, really pull inward on that and feel yourself in the moment of now and realize what you're doing and how you're affecting your life experience as those rampant ramblings and tirades come forth within you, the emotional cascade, and even if it's verbally kind of spewing out of you. It's in moments such as this that we really need to become aware of pulling in within ourselves and really identifying what's happening in this moment. I feel that we cannot harbor negative feelings towards anyone, other people or ourselves, and be at one within that single-minded awareness. Our negative thoughts and feelings about someone, something, an event are a reflection of how we feel about ourselves, only usually turned outward in a hostile manner. In order to release and forgive our past, we may need to be upset with someone for a while, especially if we've come from maybe feeling depressed. That is part of the emotional journey that I talk about on my site as well in a lot of my blog posts, and it can be integrated in with this information and staying present. However, we don't want to leave our emotions in a negative feeling place forever about that particular situation, because that goes right back to what I spoke of before about how our brain becomes accustomed to being wired in a certain way, and that becomes the coloring for how we continue to interpret future experiences. So we must work our way into less anger until feeling indifference and eventually maybe moving into forgiveness and appreciation and love. And that is becoming consciously whole, single-minded being in the moment of now. It's been said that if we try to monitor all our thoughts all the time, and this comes from a great teacher that I respect, Abraham, Jerry and Esther Hicks, bring forth Abraham, of course. I've mentioned Abraham on my site. It's been said by Abraham that if we try to monitor all of our thoughts, it can kind of drive you up the wall. And to an extent, I agree with that, but we have to monitor them when we realize things are kind of chaotic and out of control. And that's where it becomes important to break that cycle and break our old habits and processes, because that's where we really get into that awareness, bringing in the whole single-minded essence of what we are when we are operating as a single-minded entity that is allowing that God source energy, that all that is energy, to flow through us. Most people, when they learn about the law of attraction, they immediately start trying to think about what they want to manifest. And that would be okay if they were already single-minded to begin with, if they already were aware of how they're relating to their life experience, how they've done it in the past, and how they continue right now to relate to their future experiences. But the problem is that they are not that way, the majority of people out there, so they never learn techniques to quiet the mind, and they have tons of intermittent, rampant, oftentimes destructive thoughts, which are interrupting those intentions that they're journaling about and visualizing and as I said, putting on their vision boards. This is why I believe many people have problems positively affecting their reality in any significant way. Prior to getting into journaling and prior to getting into visualization, if these same people would take the time to exercise their mind and prepare it for eventually using these later techniques like visualization, then they would experience so much more success, the type of success that they are wanting to experience. I wanted to make that distinction before going any further because it can be confusing when I speak about staying present in the moment of now, but then I will also talk about visualization. And someone will say, well, if you're thinking about your future, are you not technically staying present. And that's not what I mean. I mean, again, ridding the negative thoughts from our past or the negative thoughts about future events in our moment of now. For all intents and purposes, it provides more of a clean slate when we have taken the time to work with our thoughts, to release those thoughts that are not beneficial for us, and to consistently really exercise the mind is what it takes. By speaking about the moment of now, I don't want to convolute or overcomplicate the law of attraction, but I really believe there is more to what's out there than a lot of the quick fix type things that we're seeing on the market now. There's nothing wrong with a lot of the teachings that are popping up that seem to be kind of quick fix. However, it's much more than just reading like a dummy's guide to the law of attraction. There's more of a journey that goes on here within our experience. But working with this information is, again, it's not a quick fix pill that we can take. There's not something that's going to automatically, okay, I write a few things each day and I think about what I want and everything's automatically going to fall into place. Yes, the universe is on your side for doing that type of thing. Absolutely, 100%. However, it's similar if you stop and think about like diet and exercise. When we bring those into our life experience, a lot of people, they don't want to maintain that lifestyle to be able to have the body that they want. Again, I'm not contradicting myself because I do think things do fall into place for us in very synchronistic ways. But this becomes a lifestyle. Working with the law of attraction, the deliberate intentional creation of our reality becomes a lifestyle. Just like exercise, it becomes consistently working with our thoughts. If we don't consciously take this first step about moving into the awareness of now, really getting ourselves to a point of being more single-minded, quieting down all the chatter, and being able to then go from there into visualizing what we want for our future. And this is a progressive process. It takes work on our part to be able to do that. It's not something we can just snap our fingers and it's taken care of, because many of us that are getting into this information are in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and maybe even older. So we've had many decades of habit and habitually looking at our reality in a certain way and habitually using the same portions of the brain to interpret our reality and to think about things and how we may be victimized in our circumstances. And so we really have to get in there and undo a lot of those processes to be able to get ourselves more to a state of being oneness and lining ourselves up with that source awareness that has the ability to flow through us when we get into more of a loving, joyful, forgiving type state of being. That's really what I'm getting at. The second item is to establish your purpose. I spoke of purpose in episode number 2, but here I want to get even more specific about how defining our purpose is important for utilizing the law of attraction, especially with regards to making major life changes. And I'd like to reiterate in this podcast as well that we each are determining our purpose ourselves. No one has the power or the ability to define that for us. Our purpose is what we state it to be. Purpose is one of the driving forces behind anything that you do out there. While I still feel that the moment of now is the key to all of this, I believe that purpose is right there, almost hand in hand with the moment of now. Once you recognize the purpose for what it is that you want to do, that is your driving force that keeps you afloat. Your purpose will cascade down the list for the remaining 3 items that I'm going to speak about. It will be the underlying force that is part of number 3, number 4, and number 5, because your purpose is going to be linked so tightly to all of those things that you're not going to be able to separate them out from one another. This element really takes a lot of personal reflection and inflection to be able to determine what you feel strongly about, what you care about. For people that are having difficulty or problems identifying what their purpose may be, I'm going to go ahead and merge the third item in my list with the second one that I'm speaking about right now, because I think it's important to talk about both simultaneously. The third is to cultivate desire and passion.